for Duel of Summoners. Today I want to talk specifically about the combat of the game and just show you how simplistic, how easy to pick it up it is, but also how complex it can be. So if you are familiar with other games such as Hearthstone, which are also like pretty easy to pick up trading card games, this is even taking it a step further. Like this is even easier to pick up, but I would even go so far to say maybe a little bit more complex, but I will show you what I'm talking about. So here we are pretty much in the combat interface, if you will. I'm fighting the cat merchant right now for the sake of like showing you properly what the combat is all about, because if I were to play against a real player, there would be like a timer obviously, so I couldn't show you properly all the different features of the combat. So we are just fighting pretty much against an NPC right now, so we have all the time that we need to show you the proper combat aspect of Duel of Summoners. So we start off with all the cards you see here on the screen. So what you might notice right away is that there's no draw mechanic in this game. We don't have a deck that we are pulling cards from. And you might be asking yourself right now, how is this going to work? How is a trading card game going to work without such a fundamental feature like a draw mechanic? I'm going to tell you right now, and trust me, it is working properly. It's actually brilliant. And I will show you right now why this works so perfectly and why this game works with only 12 cards in your deck. Yes, what you see here on your screen, this is your entire deck. You are only playing with 12 cards against a deck of 12 cards of the other player. And I'm going to show you right now why the system is so brilliant. So, we start off with the resources that we have over here in Duel of Summoners. It's kind of similar to a trading card game like Magic the Gathering, if you're familiar with that game. You have 5 different factions, pretty much, or 5 different resources in this case. In Duel of Summoners, they're called camps. So, in our case, we're playing with Nature, Light, and Soul. Also in Duel of Summoners, you can only play with one nature, one resource, 2 resources, or 3 resources in your deck. You can't take all 5 of them, but it makes sense once you get into the game. So in our case, again, we're playing with Nature, Light, and Soul. So right now, we can check that most of the cards we have over here, we can't play them because we're lacking the resources to play them. So, for example, the only card we can play right now is the Town Crier guy over here. He costs 1 light resource, which we have, so technically we could play him, and maybe I will do that. No, I won't. I will actually wait. So, what you can see over here is the level mechanic, which is pretty much the special thing about Duel of Summoners. So, during a match, you can actually level up, which is pretty cool. What does that level system mean? So, right now we are level 1, and we have... Since we're level 1, we only have 1 flame, which is indicating that we have 1 action per turn that we can perform. So if I were to play this guy and place him on one of the slots, our turn would be over and the flame would go to our opponent, and which would be indicating that our turn is over and that our opponent player can start his turn. What else we can do is we can charge. Charging means that we get 1 random resource out of the resources that we are playing with. So in our case, if I were to press charge, we would get either 1 nature, 1 light, or 1 soul. So if you are playing with 3 resources in your deck, there's already an RNG factor when gaining resources. The benefit that you have when playing with 3 different resources is you're getting 1 resource every turn of every camp that you're playing with. So in our case, every turn, or at the start of our turn, we would get 1 nature, 1 light, and 1 soul. But when we charge, we only get 1 resource out of the resources that we're playing with. So if you were to play with only 1 resource, you would get the desired resources by 100%, right? So in our case, we have the 3 resources, and I'm deciding to actually not play a card this turn. I think I will just charge. And again, by charging, this already consumes a flame. And in that case, our turn will be over. Another thing that you might notice right away, obviously, are the hit points. Like in every trading card game, we start off with 25, which is, I think, a pretty common number for most trading card games. And in this game, when you level up, you actually gain 25% of the current HP that you have. So you might want to level up as fast as possible, but there are some strategies that would not require you to level up right away. But I will get to that later. So for now, I just want to charge up and get one of my resources. So we got Nature, pretty nice. It's our opponent's turn. He just decides to discard a card and attack us. So talking about discarding, you can also discard a card from your hand straight to the graveyard. Why do you want to do that? maybe you're lacking a resource. Like for example, if I were to play Devil Tentarka right now, I'm missing 1 soul resource to play her since we only have 2 and she cost 3. So what we can do is we can discard a soul card from our hand to the graveyard to gain that 1 soul resource. And I think we're actually going to do this right now. So since we have 2 Hellhounds, I just discard 1 of them into the grave. And, oh, no, my turn is over. So, okay, my opponent just decided to play a Mud Archer. Another thing you noticed maybe right away is how the board is designed. So we have a classic, well maybe not classic, but in this game we have a 5-lane system. So we have like a lane over here, 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 and here. What that means is that, for example, his fairy is placed on the 4th slot. So that means if we were to block his attacks, we would have to place a creature on the 4th slot as well. So if we wanted to block the 3 incoming attack of the fairy, we would have to place a creature over there. But let me actually check what I can do right now. We have the Hellhound. He would be... Okay, so we can play the Hellhound right now. But his effect is when he's summoned, he deals 3 damage to each enemy creature. So what we can do right now is we play the Hellhound right in front of the Mud Archer, because he would actually block his attack and also destroy the fairy anyway, so we would not need to block her. So we do this right now. We place the Hellhound on the 5th slot. So what happens is he deals damage to all the creatures, and with the fairy being gone... Oh no. Okay, so he's playing the Cemetery now. Cemetery is pretty much a resource gainer creature, if you will. So there are some cards in the game, or creatures, which kind of like act just as like resource gainers, which in this case is Cemetery for soul. And yeah, now we collected enough EXP points, which you can always see over here. We need 6 points to get to level 2, which we acquired. So now we could decide to level up. But if you level up, that is also considered an action. So if we were to level up right now, our turn would be over. So maybe you sometimes just want to play another creature before you want to level up to 2. But I think in this case, we actually just want to go ahead and level up. And why do you want to level up? Or what are the benefits of leveling up? When you level up, as I said before, you're getting 25% of your current HP back. So that is also really nice. Or this is also a reason why you want to level up as fast as possible. And your cards are actually getting stronger. But with your cards getting stronger, they're also getting more expensive. So what I was saying before, it's sometimes not the best thing to just rush the levels, and just get to the max cap right away. Because what can happen is that your cards are becoming too expensive, and if you don't have a proper resource management, it can happen that you're running out of resources and your creatures are simply too strong and too expensive, or your spells, your cards in general, so that you can't play anything. But in our case, I think we're good because it's pretty much the early game anyway, so we just go ahead and level up. So now we're in level 2. This also shows us that we now need 14 points to go to the next level. And so what you can see right now is our cards in our hand, they became stronger. The cards in our hand, they always level up with the player. The cards that we already placed, they do not level up. So I placed the Hellhound on level 1. I'm level 2 right now, but the Hellhound is still level 1. As you can see over here, there's like a little help screen. It shows you pretty much the stats on each level and what the effects on each level are. So as you can see, he still has 4 attack and 8 max HP, so that means he is still level 1. He didn't level up with us because we placed him on the board. So only the cards that you have in your hand, they will level up with you. Alright, so now what we want to do is, I think we will play Archer Mary, because she's actually a very strong card. What she does is, she attacks the enemy creature with the highest HP, ignoring its defense. That's actually pretty OP. And at the end of the turn, she attacks the enemy creature with the highest attack, ignoring its defense. So she's probably attacking twice each turn, which is pretty cool. So she can either attack one creature twice in case your opponent is only playing one creature, or she can attack 2 creatures each, which is kind of cool. So what we do is we actually place her on the 1st slot, and for our second action, I think we will just charge. Alright, so we will just see what your opponent is doing right now. Yeah, as you can see, Archimere was now attacking. Oh, he's cloning my creature now, which is interesting. Alright, and is going to petrify. Oh, that's unfortunate, but I think we can deal with that. Oh, and now she killed my Hellhound. Alright, that's not a big deal. That's not a big deal. So, another feature I want to introduce you is the Graveyard feature or the Revive feature. As you can see here on the left side of our screen, we have the option to revive cards from our grave whenever we want, which is pretty cool. But here comes the thing. whenever you want to revive cards from your graveyard, you can only decide to revive all of them. You cannot select what card you want to retrieve to your hand. So it's either no card or all of them. In our case, I actually want to take back my 2 Hellhounds in my graveyard just to show you what happens. So if I take them back or decide to take them back, they return into my hand. But as you could have seen right now, I paid 1 HP point for each card that I got back to my hand. So this is pretty much like the cost that you're paying for getting the cards back. And also, as you can see right now over here, those Hellhounds, they have a grave mark applied. So every time a card goes to the graveyard and returns back to the hand, there will be a graveyard applied to that card. That means with every grave coin or card or counter applied to a card, the card will become 1 resource more expensive. That system pretty much ensures that eventually one player will run out of resources, so there will be no stalemate situations in this game. So you can pretty much say whoever runs out of resources first is pretty much the one to lose. Alright? So this game requires a lot of resource management, and this is what I mentioned at the beginning, why this game is so brilliant, because this system works so well, or that's pretty much the reason why this game doesn't require a deck or draw mechanic, and still brilliantly works. So what we want to do right now is we want to place Acid Monster, which has the effect when summoned, it reduces the attack of the creature in front by -5. So we definitely want to reduce the creature's attack of Archer Mary, so we place the Acid Monster right in front of her, and her attack is going to reduce to 0. So she is going to be no harm for us anymore, which is nice. Okay, so he's summoning a Goblin's Treasure Chest. It's pretty much a trolley card. What happens is when this card is destroyed, a hidden creature comes out. And if you want to know what creature comes out of the treasure chest, you can click here on the help button, and then you see this new blue button popping up, related cards, and it will show you all the different cards that could technically come out of the treasure chest. One creature is actually not displayed, because what can happen is when you kill the Goblin Treasure Chest, another Goblin Treasure Chest can technically come out. So if the game, or if the RNG is like Super Troll, what can happen is a Goblin Treasure Chest just keeps popping out. Alright, we will just try to avoid destroying the Goblin Treasure Chest. Okay, now in our case, we can level up again, which we'll actually do, because I just want to make sure that we have our creatures and spells in their strongest state. And I think I will actually play my Town Crier. So I will place him over here to make sure he will eventually destroy the cemetery. Alright, Ice Monster is attacking Archer Mary right now. Oh, which Xena is actually a pretty powerful card. So what happened right now is because he played the card, my Town Crier added +3 attack to an ally, and but reduces its HP by 1, or I think of each ally by 1, yeah. Alright. But that's cool, it's cool, we can handle that, no problem, no big deal. But we still want to get rid of her as fast as possible, because her effect is pretty nasty. She reduces the HP of all enemies' creatures by 15 every turn. That's actually pretty strong. So what we want to do is, I think we will just play nothing right now, because I don't want to risk playing a creature in front of her. Like if I were to play Devil Tentarka right now, in front of her, what would happen is that Xena would just reduce her HP down to 1 and then kill her off, and we don't want that. So I think what we want to do right now is maybe just place the Archer in front of her. That should be fine, because she has 4 defense, and that is fine, so we just place it in front of Xena. Also, how the defense mechanism works in this game is also a pretty tricky mechanic. So if your creature has 4 defense, and in this case we have Xena with 3 attack, attacking her next turn, what happens is the shield value is always reduced by a random number between 1 and X being the attack value of the creature that is attacking. So in this case, the shield would be reduced by a random number between 1 and 3. So yes, it's an RNG factor, but it can spice things up in battle, so it makes the combat a little bit less stale, so it's okay, I guess. So that's the kind of like RNG you can deal with. Alright, so for the remaining 2 turns, I will just decide to charge up and not do anything and just see what happens. Archer Mary should be down 8 times soon. Yeah, next turn she will be dead, unless he somehow managed to destroy my Acid Monster, which is probably not going to be the case. Alright, it's my turn again. So now, by the way, also we reached the highest level, which is level 3, so we have 3 actions per turn, which is really nice. But again, being at the highest level comes with the risk that your creatures might become too strong, meaning that the resource cost might be too high. Alright, so you can already see that the creatures are getting a lot, like, very expensive, and it's like pretty hard for me to catch up. Okay, but what we want to do right now is I want to play, I think I want to be able to play my Hellhound next turn. So what we do is we discard some of the cards like Devil Dentarka, and we discard, I think, the other Hellhound maybe. Yeah, one of the Hellhounds. Alright. And I think for the last turn we'll just charge up. That's perfect. Alright. Okay, so now Archer Mary is down, which is pretty nice. Xena is reducing the HP of all my creatures to 1. Drag to Hell came in, which was actually for my favor. What happened with Drag to Hell is that a creature on both sides, a random creature, is going to be destroyed. In his case, it destroyed Xena. For my case, it destroyed the petrification. What actually happened is, if the petrification is getting destroyed, it just returns the creature to its original state. So that was actually good for me right now. So now I will still play my Hellhound, I think. Yeah, I think we're still going to do it. Yeah, let's just... Or should we charge up for Demon... I can't even pronounce his name, holy shit. No, I think we'll just go with the Hellhound and have his creatures being destroyed. Let's see what comes out. Oh, that's actually unfortunate, but we will manage to do it. It's fine, because we are pretty much now in the advantage. We have, like, pretty much the control on the board right now. Also, HP-wise, is looking pretty good for us. In terms of resources, we're being pretty far ahead, which is nice. Oh, okay, my Hellhound survived it. It's actually pretty cool. Okay, sometimes the bots... Okay, Drag to Hell again, that's okay. So Archer Mary went down. That doesn't matter, because now it's game for us, because he has only 6 HP left. And we have, like, 26 damage on the board, so this is game for us. So what we can do right now is we just charge up, and let just things happen. Okay, and yeah, my Hellhound's going to make the last strike here. Fatal damage. Boom, there we go. So that's game for us. Okay, so that was pretty much everything I wanted to show you right now for the combat in Duel of Summoners. I will pretty much going to continue this beginner's guide and show you the different other aspects from the game, but for now I just want to show you and display you how fun and cool the combat in Duel of Summoners can be. It will be even more like crazier with the future updates and future booster updates from the game. There will be tons of crazy cards, tons of crazy mechanics later on in the game, which I will also introduce you with future updates on my beginner's guide. But for now, that's all I want to show you, so thanks for watching this beginner's guide. Peace out.